Hi and welcome to the third video in the Odometer tutorial series. In this video we're looking at animating with glyphs. In the previous video we looked at animating text. Now the difference between glyphs and text is that with glyphs we actually use a different kind of texture, whereas the numbers and text modes both share the same type of texture. Glyphs is unique. With glyphs, what we do is we specify the number of glyphs that we want first, and then when we hit create, based on the number of glyphs total, a different texture is generated. So for example, I said I wanted a glyph with 6 elements, and here we have a glyph texture with 6 elements. Now I've done a little bit of preparation, so instead of using that one, I'm going to switch to my Odometer texture glyph. And if we double click on that, we can see we have some slot machine icons, and I've just put a guide layer on top of those so that we know what's what. So that we can see exactly what's going on, I'm just going to come in and lock this composition and open up the odometer composition. And I can see that a 0 represents a spade. Now I want this to start off with the 4 suits of the card, so 0, 1, 2, 3 on the first marker. And then I want it to animate to 4 crowns, which is 4, 4, 4, 4. And we can see the animation that we have animates to 4 crowns. Let's do a little bit of layout. I'll put this more in the middle. I want to be able to see 3 rows high, so I'll change the height to 300. And let's play around with the randomized positions so that we don't have much variety. I still want it to look a little random. Okay, that will do. Something that I'd like to do is add some more spacing between each of these elements. So if we come into the texture glyph, what we can do is just, if we make sure that we have all these anchor points centered, you can scale these down so that there's more space in between everything. And that looks a lot better. So you can customize space that way. You also have the tracking to customize the X spacing individually. And now I'd also like some perspective to make it look like it's spinning on a wheel. And it arrives at its final destination way too quick. So we'll come down to animation and we'll set a force minimum spins to at least 6. So that's a bit more like slot machines. And we can retime the animation here, make it last 3 seconds. And I'll add a stagger frames per column of 1.5. That's looking very slot machine-esque. Let's just say that we're happy with this, but the client comes back and says, yep, that's good, but we've added an extra character into our slot machine. Can you add it in? Well, to do that, what we want to do is tell the plugin that there's going to be a total of 7 glyphs now. The result will look very strange. That's normal because we haven't modified the texture itself. Then we come into the texture and we go to the comp settings. Each element represents 200 by 200. So if we wanted to add a 7th, this would need to be 1400 high. Now we'd also need to move these elements up. Actually, you really don't want to be moving the grid. That's generally why it's locked. And then let's come in and add in a 6th element. And instead of a cherry, I'm just gonna add in a grape. And just so we know which character that is, I'll change that to a 6. And then we come back. If we want to make the textures larger, we can always use the texture scale up or down buttons within the plugin, and then fine tune that with the uniform scale. And now we have 7 characters total. So that's how to retroactively change the number of glyphs that you have, and that about wraps it up for this tutorial. In the next video we'll cover troubleshooting and the general warnings inside Odometer.